1966. In a time when Indonesia was in turmoil from the communist purge, various economic crises, and Sukarno's incapability to raise elections in the face of his new marriage, Jakarta lost its light as the capital of Indonesia. Famine and poverty rocked the place, and violence against suspected Reds became the norm. And usually, the Chinese were the butt of these because mainland China was commie. The city became unbecoming of what a capital of Indonesia should be, and instead became an R-rated version of the chaos at Tilted Towers. Amidst all these instability, one man, he rose up to the job. Or rather, he got kicked downstairs to take the job. Ali Sadikin was a Minister of Maritime Affairs during the Sukarno period. He was a former Marine. Ali Sadikin was sort of a hard ass. According to a story by one of his cohorts, Ali Sadikin was more of a Hollywood showman, kind of like Charlton Heston, who likes to dive straight into the fire and shoot his machine gun movie style. This personality of his was highly prized by Sukarno, who needed a grizzled, gutsy soldier to tackle Jakarta's problems. Sukarno had declared that the capital will be a special region and will be prioritized in government funding in 1966. And Ali Sadikin was seen as the right man for the job. Later that year, he made Ali Sadikin the governor of Jakarta. And on his first day, Ali Sadikin, he was shocked. Bro was literally confuzzled. Here in Indonesia, we have something called the APBD, or the Anggaran Pendapatan Belanja Daerah, or in English, it's called the Regional Funds. That was reserved for Jakarta, and it was only 66 million. Oh my god, with 66 million these days, you can get a single unit of a Yamaha R25. Yes! The entire budget for Jakarta was equivalent to a single R25 motorcycle. Jesus fucking Christ. But 66 million rupiahs back in the days worth more than that. Adjusting to the inflation of 1968, 66 million rupiahs is worth 12 billion rupiahs, so it was still a pretty decent amount of money. He had to turn the dirt poor capital of Indonesia into the modern city that it is now, because Sukarno was only concerned with the looks. It was actually part of his government policy, so things weren't that easy for Ali Sadikin. Adding to his building worries, the political landscape at the time wasn't really favorable to him. Soon after the start of Ali Sadikin's tenure, Suharto deemed Sukarno to be too much of a major L, and so decided to kick Sukarno off the lobby so he can become squad leader. And Ali Sadikin was in Sukarno's close friends list. He was under the threat of being banned from the server adminship. So that's why the former Marine viewed Jakarta as a battlefield to be fought and won. Jakarta was Ali Sadikin's make it or break it. And plus, Ali Sadikin's redlining socialist views kind of clashed with Suharto's Berkeley mafia of over-pedantic neoliberal LPDP student graduates. While Ali Sadikin himself was what is best described as a leftist sumet. His approach to Jakarta would have been likened to a wrecking ball, to smash Jakarta's problems head-on, to give no shit as to who gets in between. Ali Sadikin realizes that he needs to be an unstoppable force of change. So people had to get out of the way or become corpse starch for the people living in Jakarta. Suharto wanted Indonesia to be rich and prosperous so that he can also be rich and prosperous as well. He wanted Jakarta to attract investors, but at the same time be habitable to Jakartans who weren't part of the government or Caltech, because let's face it, at the time, it wasn't. And so Ali Sadikin began his work. First, Ali Sadikin waged a war against poverty and poor people. He took to the streets and led armies to battle against the penniless goblins of Jaksel and Jakut. The streets of Jakarta often had armies clashing against each other, as Ali Sadikin would periodically charge with with a machine gun at hand, Hollywood style, mounting a T-Rex and taking out hordes and hordes of people at the time. It was glorious, or at least that was what's going on in his head. In reality, the war against poverty was pretty boring. He had to displace slums, build tenements and hospitals, and also increase social welfare. He basically needed to have the place stop smelling like human excrement because most of the time it was. The city was also pretty ugly. So Bang Ali, as to what he calls himself now, started building more nicer things. Taman Ismail Marzuki, Kebun Binatang Ragunan, Proyek Senen, Taman Impian Jaya Ancol, Taman Ria Monas, Taman Ria Remaja, Kota Satelit Pluit di Jakarta Utara, Pelestarian Budaya Betawi in Condet, and to also build the Institute of Arts. And to make sure traffic to these places are guaranteed and accessible, Bang Ali introduces buses to Jakarta and invented bus stops. All of that is useless since most people go to Grand Indonesia and pick to have fun now. But speaking of fun, Ali Sadikin's biggest contribution to Jakarta, and the reason why this man is based in the first place, was because he legalized gambling and prostitution. There are plenty of reasons why gambling and prostitution were legalized back then. Both tend to make money flow faster from returns and clients, and both attracted foreigners seeking to invest in the gambling industry of the sex tourists who wanted an alternative destination in Bangkok. He legalized these activities under pressure from the conservatives who called him Gubernur Judi or Gubernur Maksiat. Even Suharto questioned his sanity. But Ali Sadikin locked in. He stated that he's willing to sin if it is for the good of the people of Jakarta in his biography. He was set on making Jakarta rival Bangkok by legalizing these two and attracted foreign investors and tourists. And to monopolize the business, he criminalized all forms of illegal gambling. Soon after he made that move, Jakarta built a casino. Yes, we have a casino, or we used to, called the Copacabana Club, just across Ancol. The Copacabana Club became a symbol of a modern Jakarta. He later traveled to Bangkok to visit Thai brothels for research purposes. Ali Sadikin learned that the Bangkok city government had localized brothels and focused them in a single red light district. So he took this and applied it into Jakarta. He opened up Kramat Tunggak, Jakarta's biggest red light district and the biggest in Southeast Asia, dwarfing the red light districts of Thailand. Thousands of bar owners and prostitutes began flooding the district, attracting many foreigners who were interested in getting it on with the locals. Many of the locals, especially around Kramat Tunggak, did not take kindly to a red light district being erected around their parts, and over the years from the 70s to the 80s, they tried to get the place closed. But against all backlash, Ali Sadikin continued to allow gambling and prostitution to flourish. Casinos opened up almost everywhere in the 70s. Like, dudes used to go to casinos for a lunch break. Yes, you could do that. You can find casinos all over the place, from Senen to Tamrin. Red light districts spread and became rampant like in Block M and Mangga 2. People used to get lost so easily, they got lost in people. For all his haters, Ali Sadikin just told them to take the massive L because he made Jakarta into a city worthy of tourism. Guy deadass said by building Kramat Tunggak, he has successfully, quote-unquote, beautified the city. Talk about open-minded. Since he did a lot of displacements, many salty poor people tend to curse the dude. The people of Jakarta wish for a more family-friendly fun because you wouldn't really take kids to casinos or brothels, and Ancol was getting a bit boring. So he needed to commit to a bread and circus strategy, but how exactly can he fulfill this wish? Luckily for Ali Sadikin, his wish was granted in the form of this man, named Samsudin Mangan, who at the time was the head of the Kadin, the Indonesian Trade Chamber. Mangan wanted to create a fair for Jakartans and needed Ali Sadikin to facilitate. This fair would promote local businesses and their products to Jakartans. And so the Jakarta Fair was held in 1968, if I'm not mistaken, for the first time. And Ali Sadikin got his bread in circuses, and while Mangan got his business endorsements. And the Jakarta Fair, it became a huge hit with the people of Jakarta. Everybody loved it, and they splurged the fuck out of the place. After all of this, one thing to understand is that Ali Sadikin is a huge zaddy for Jakarta. But his huge zaddy riz won't help him save him from an axing. Suharto got angry that apparently Ali Sadikin allowed Golkar to be defeated in the Jakarta regional elections. Because Ali Sadikin didn't do what was expected of him to do. So Suharto removed him from governorship. In the 1990s, more prudish governors such as Sutioso was repulsed with his changes, and over time, gambling and prostitution became outlaw again, and Kramat Tunggak was teared down, and the Jakarta Islamic Center was erected on top of the rubble, symbolizing a new change for Jakarta, while Copacabana was closed down and was bought by Hotel Mercury. So what can we learn from Ali Sadikin's story? Yeah, so the moral of the story, we need to make a certain party great again, and we need to make Block M great again. Yeah, man. Masa gitu sih hikmahnya? So, the moral of the story is that we need to turn Jakarta into something like Macau. Not your mum, but the actual Macau. The Macau in China, you know, we need to do these things, the necessary evils, so that Jakarta may be a city that is worth coming and investing to once more, you know, instead of just being a defisit negara. Daripada lo jackpot keluar isi perut, mending lo jackpot keluar koin-koin, bro. Sorry, I don't endorse online gambling, neither do I endorse gambling, but I'm just trying to make sense of the script. Thanks for tuning in to the Based from the Past, and I will return to you with Based from the Past in the next episode.